If I wouldn't develop my personality, I would still be in a limiting belief or in a mindset that I'm a person that is introvert. So we have to sabotage in a positive way our mind in order to change our paradigm that is laying in our subconscious mind. Repetition is the key. So how do you talk to yourself on a daily basis is very important. If you act like the person you want to become in the future, you will attract more people that are the same. Self-fulfilled prophecy, guys. Big topic. Hi and welcome to another episode of the Unbreakable Mind podcast. My name is Jonathan and I'm super excited for the actual first episode, because in the first episode that I last week uploaded, we kind of, just gave a brief introduction what this podcast is about, what the purpose is, what we actually cover as topics. So yeah, if you haven't watched it, if you haven't listened to it, feel free to jump into the YouTube and Spotify playlist and check the first episode out, so you're basically covered. But again, in this podcast, it's basically to serve you guys, to bring you on my personal development journey, but also on my journey in growing in all areas, not just in personal development, but I think it's the counterstone. It's like the main part of you being successful, but there are different areas, like fitness, sales, entrepreneurship, like all these things we're going to cover. I will invite many amazing guest speakers in the future as well, have individual podcasts like this one today as well. So yeah, I'm super excited. So let's dive into this episode today. I'm super looking forward for this. So today in this episode, we actually speak about paradigms and how paradigms can potentially change your life, how it changed for me as well, because I wasn't aware what actually in paradigm in general is. Just getting awareness about the topic and understanding where specific things come from, especially we're going to cover limiting beliefs. It's super amazing. So let's actually dive into the topic and kind of, get things rolling. So I think you guys definitely have limiting beliefs, right? Limiting beliefs that hold you back from going all in all areas of life, going all in, like, making the money that you want to. Doesn't matter how much it is. If you want to have a little, if you want to have a lot, doesn't matter. If maybe you have limiting beliefs that hold you back from actually being successful in the area that you want to have success. You maybe think that these limiting beliefs are just part of you, that is actually you as a person, that you were, basically grown up with it. And that's kind of true, but you can also change them. So, and this is actually a paradigm. So let's actually speak about these limiting beliefs, where they come from, right? Where does a limiting belief or a paradigm actually basically comes out of, of the ground? It's actually very simple. We have to ask ourselves a simple question: what has shaped us in the past? And I'm talking specifically about your childhood, for example, right? When you grow up, what has shaped you? And don't just think about, of course, the negative things, also about the positive things. But I will cover a little bit of like the, let's say, normal limiting beliefs that maybe some of you guys have as well. Because think about it. When we grow up, we watch some TV series, most likely. Some of you guys haven't watched some of them. I did watch a lot of them. I can name a lot of them, but let's speak, for example, about SpongeBob. We have Mr. Krabs. Mr. Krabs is the bad guy, and Mr. Krabs makes a lot of money. Well, that can be a coincidence, right? But most likely Dagobert Duck, right? Dagobert Duck is also the bad guy, but he is filthy rich. So if you take a look on these series, these series that we watch when we grow up, we kind of get implemented the idea that the rich guys are always bad people, bad persons, right? Because the character traits that these guys have, for example, Dagobert Duck and Mr. Krabs, they are arrogant, they are not nice to their human beings that they're surrounded with. So we kind of get implemented the idea of the rich is bad, right? So maybe you heard from your mom, from your dad, parents, whatever, when I at least heard it, maybe it's only me, like, these guys that are driving great cars, they have to do drugs. Like, I was like, okay, well, I never thought about it, right? I was like, okay, well, most likely these guys, especially in Germany, we are like, hey, these guys that drive the BMW 3 Series, or these guys that drive an AMG, like a Mercedes, they have to be bad guys. It's illegal how they make money, most likely. How can they be so young and, you know, drive so good cars? And maybe sometimes it was actually true, but not all the time, right? And that's kind of something that we got implemented in our childhood. But there are also other things that, of course, could be the case. Bullying, for example, in school, right? Happened to me as well. Not for a long time, but it definitely happened to me in 1 year as well. Your parents, like me, for example, I can just speak about myself. My parents got divorced when I was 6, right? So I could have the negative or limiting belief that I think relationships doesn't work out, right? Could be the case. And there are many more, right? There are many more things that could have potentially changed or, impacted you in the past, So you have to ask yourself, what is the origin of your limiting beliefs? Where does it come from? Where is the root of it? And many people don't do it. They just accept that it's there, you know, and kind of said, and I said it myself. I said for a long time, hey, this is just part of me. Like these limiting beliefs I had, this is just part of me. And these sentences that we say to ourselves, like, I'm not good enough to sing, I'm not good enough to perform on a stage, I'm not good enough to, I think most of us had it, right, to have good grades in school. We're kind of growing up with a system where we get grades for our work. And if we don't do good work, if we didn't learn a lot, we kind of, get a bad rating, a bad grade, right? We start like this. So already there, we kind of get implemented limiting beliefs about ourselves, and we start talking to ourselves in a negative way, right? Or you most likely said something before to yourself, I cannot do this and this, right? I cannot sing. I cannot write an essay. I cannot perform on stage. Whatever it is, I cannot be an athlete. He or she can do it. Look at him. He is good looking. He's is very communicative. Like he's extroverted. But me, I'm an introverted guy. I cannot perform in front of people, right? Or sports is nothing for me. Speaking is nothing for me. Trading and investing is nothing for me. Or whatever, right? Whatever you can think about. Or a last one, I'm a emotional person, let's say like this. Or I'm not good in sports. Like these kind of things you tell yourself for sure. Everyone did it in the past already. Most likely you still do it, maybe on a bigger scale, maybe on a smaller scale, but you most likely definitely still do it. And you know what? This is so important to understand now. The spoken word is so, so important. It has so much impact on you personally and your life. It all starts with you. Because the thing is, if you start to talk to yourself in a negative way, it's kind of, it's kind of like a self-fulfilled prophecy. Maybe you heard about it already. I say it again, a self-fulfilled prophecy. Let's think about this scenario. You're on your job, for example, right? Or a friend of yours is telling you something to do, right? Hey, do this and this. Your manager, whatever. Whoever it is, your dad, your mom, tells you, hey, son, daughter, do this. And there are two options now, right? The main thing is you don't really know how to do it, right? So the thing is now you can either say, Mom, Dad, that is not possible. I cannot do it. Or you can say, hey, Mom, Dad, I don't really know how to do it, but I will figure it out. You know what's the funny thing is? The answer that you will give to the person that told you, hey, do this and this, will be the exact same, which is, I told you so. Because if you say, hey, it's impossible, I cannot do it, well, how can you achieve something if you tell yourself already beforehand that you cannot do it? Like, that just doesn't make sense. So you will most likely don't achieve it, and you will come back to the person and say, hey, listen, I told you, right? It's impossible, I cannot do it. On the other side, you say, hey, I don't know how to do it, but I will figure it out. I will find a solution for it and I will figure it out. I will do it. Most likely, if you have this kind of mindset, if you have this kind of wording speaking to yourself, you will most likely achieve it. And the answer is, hey, I told you so, I will figure it out. So you just have to ask yourself, which side do you want to choose? Do you want to be a person that is looking for solutions? Or do you want to be a person that is already giving up before you even start? That's a big topic. Self-fulfilled prophecy, guys. Big, big topic. And another thing, of course, that happens is not just the spoken word that we speak to ourselves, but also what other people are speaking about us or telling us what we are. You know, let's say, for example, you have an amazing idea, right? You want to do something, you want to start a business, you want to be a professional athlete, whatever. People will tell you cannot do it. They said to me as well when I started my own business, they told myself, hey, you cannot do it anyways. Right? They said, you're wasting your youth, right? You're wasting your young, your young age, right? You can have so much fun. You can go to parties. You can do this. You can travel on a budget. Anyways, that's not so nice, but you know what I mean, right? But this is another thing. Let's not talk about it. Like, do this and this, do your small business, Mr. Investing. What do people told me? They even said, because I was studying next to my business, they asked me something like, did you already drop out of your uni or what are you doing? And the last thing that also came up a lot, you have changed. Another thing that came up a lot was you have changed. But isn't change the point? Like, back in the days, I was like, okay, when somebody tells me you have changed, this is a negative thing. You have changed. Well, you're a different person. I changed my personality to the bad. Like, this was kind of my limiting belief. If somebody told me, hey, you have changed, this needs to be negative. But now I'm thinking, hey, thank you for the compliment, because changing is the purpose of life, right? Like, if you always be the same person all the time, like, why? You need to grow. Like, you don't need to, but you can choose. I'm choosing to grow. I'm choosing to become better. I'm choosing to evolve my personality, not change, the core of my personality, but developing my personality, Because if I wouldn't develop my personality, I would still be in a limiting belief or in a mindset that I'm a person that is introvert, that cannot speak very good in front of people, that cannot, be basically going in contact with people. And now I have spoken in front of, I think the max was like 5,000 people. And I was afraid before to speak in front of my own class. So again, do I want to be the person that is not even able to speak in front of my class? Or do I want to be the person that is confident and speaks in front of 5,000 people because I know I can give value to them? Tell me, is this positive or negative? I personally think if somebody tells you you have changed, that is a great compliment. So again, it's just perception, right? I don't want to go too deep into it because these are actually also one of the 5 things that are really important. Perception, like one of the core things that nobody teaches us how we develop this. This a big topic that I could do like a whole podcast for. Let's actually speak now about more the paradigm and more about the thoughts, that how important thoughts are, when it comes to your paradigm. Because I learned from Bob Proctor, right? And if you know Bob Proctor, you most likely heard it before. He is always explaining stuff with the sticky person model, right? We all know what a sticky person is. Strichmännchen in German. You don't know what the word is, but basically, you have the head, then a line, and then, you have the body and everything like that, right? But of course, it's not about describing a person like this. It's actually describing how our mind works. And Bob Proctor actually said one thing. We have basically our mind is structured in 2 parts. Our conscious mind and our subconscious mind, right? And the difference between our conscious mind and our subconscious mind is very simple. Our conscious mind can accept or reject thoughts, right? And our subconscious mind cannot. It simply accepts everything what comes from the conscious mind. Basically cannot determine the difference between the truth and a lie. And I already can tell you right now, we can use this for our advantage. We can tell ourselves things that are not done yet. And of course, we don't fake it until we make it, but we act as if. Because this topic is actually very deep. When it comes to thoughts and emotions, often, as I said before, we identifying ourselves with our thoughts, right? Let's say, for example, we feel angry, right? Anger is a very strong emotion, right? So what do we say most of the time? We say, I am angry, right? In this situation, I am angry about this and this. I am scared. It's also a big emotion. I am scared. I'm scared to fail the test. I'm scared to speak to the person because I'm afraid of rejection. These kind of things. But isn't it crazy if you actually analyze it, if you actually think about it? I know that it's so normal for you and maybe you're not at this point yet, but think about it. I am scared. You're saying I am. So you're identifying with being a person that is scared. But I ask you a very simple question. Is the emotion and the thoughts around this, being scared state, is this always there or is it going away? Are you always afraid? Are you always scared? Are you always angry? No. It's like maybe you're angry for 1 minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. You're not, sometimes I know these situations, we are very angry. We are very in our head. But at one point, it's gone. Like another thought is coming towards us. Another emotion is coming towards us, right? That means that it's not us. This thought, this emotion is not us. So why are we identifying with it? I always say, like, the best example here is the sky and the state of the sky, like how the sky can be changed, right? The sky can be, it can rain, there can be a storm, there can be sun, right? All these things, sun, storm, all these things, they are emotions. The sky is a state. It's always there. The sky is always there. That's not changing. The sky is there when it's raining. The sky is there when there is sun. The sky is you. The emotions is the weather. So again, don't identify with emotions. And when it comes now to the conscious and subconscious mind, it's actually crazy. You can accept or reject thoughts, emotions, or things that other people are telling you. Because I tell you one thing, if you're really confident in yourself, right? For example, when I speak about myself, if somebody is coming to me and is telling me, hey, you are really bad in speaking, I'm very confident that my speaking skills are very, very good, right? I have learned them. I have studied it. I'm not saying that I'm the best speaker ever. By far not. But I'm definitely confident that my speaking skills are very good. So if somebody comes to me and is just saying like this, hey, you're a very bad speaker, I've never seen anything so bad like you, I'm like, okay, thank you for the review, for the feedback. I don't think so. So I'm very confident. I am rejecting the thought that I'm a bad speaker. Or if somebody is coming to me and saying, hey, you're a really bad person, I'm like, no, I know that I'm a really good person. I'm always doing stuff, not just for me, but also to serve, I'm always trying to have an impression of increase, right? I always want to have a benefit for the person that is having a conversation with me. So I'm very confident that this is not the case. So I'm rejecting it and I'm accepting only positive. So it's very easy to understand. So if we accept negative thoughts, negative emotions, negative things that other people are telling us, it comes into our mind. Well, our subconscious mind is, as I said, cannot determine between whether it's the truth or not. So it comes into our body. So what happens is the following. Negative thoughts that are accepted by our conscious mind create negative emotions. Negative emotions create negative vibration in our body. And when we have a negative vibration in our body, we create negative action that result in negative results, right? And the same thing happens when we have the other way around. Positive thoughts create positive emotions, and positive emotions create positive vibration in our body that creates positive action that results in positive results, right? And this is basically how it works. How we can change everything with the controlling of our mind, the controlling of our thoughts, right? And again, when we speak about the paradigm, when we are younger, it looks more like a bathtub, right? Our mind is more like a bathtub because we don't have a conscious mind there. We cannot really accept or reject. We are just not able to do it yet, right? So what happens, as I said before, it's basically collecting all the memories, all the beliefs that our parents and everyone that is close to us is giving us. And when we are like 5, 6, 7 years old, we are kind of creating this conscious mind, but then we have it already in us. So the collective thoughts, right, that we gathered in our first about 6 years of our life, they are the paradigm. And if we try to go out of the paradigm, we are often running in front of a wall. So how do we actually change them? We have to consistently tell ourselves that this is not the truth. So we have to sabotage in a positive way our mind in order to change our paradigm that is laying in our subconscious mind. Repetition is the key. So how do you talk to yourself on a daily basis is very important. How often do you do person development and actually study what's going on with your thoughts? How often do you do it? How often do you read? Like these kind of things really help, guys. Ideas, thoughts, images, everything important because we have these 5 sensory factors, right? How we can basically, get information in, right? See, hear, smell, taste, touch. All these things that are like our 5 sensory factors if we still have them. And the problem is that often it is that we focus on results, right? Results causes thoughts. So if, for example, we are failing in a test, that causes thoughts. And thoughts basically stir up emotions, as I said already, and emotions cause these vibration. So again, if we just focus also on results, that is not good. We have to basically focusing on our daily activities. Results come afterwards. So don't get excited. Don't just do your excitement level based on results because results will be very rare in the beginning of your journey. The paradigm is a multitude of habits, and these habits basically passed on over generations and over generations. So again, energy is key here, and you have to choose your thoughts, right, with a conscious mind or also the intellectual mind, we call it, and the emotional mind, which is our subconscious mind, basically causes our feelings. And if we understand this difference, guys, it's a big, big difference. But if you guys really go deep into this topic, if you really understand the difference between, the conscious and the subconscious mind, the topic with emotions, actually, I give you one more topic there. When it comes to emotions, you always have to think the emotion, again, is no state. We said it before. So how can you change the way you act when a negative emotion is coming? Well, I already kind of said it. You don't say, I am angry, I'm anxious, or I'm scared. You basically say, angriness is coming towards me and I have to challenge with it, right? Or a hard situation where I'm definitely being challenged is coming towards me. I have to see how I overcome this challenge. This is how we have to think. I know it's not easy in the beginning, but this is how we need to kind of, get into our brain, into our mind and teach it, how to properly act upon thoughts and emotions that are coming towards us. You see already how I talk. The emotion is coming towards me. I know that I am not the emotion. The emotion is coming towards me. And guys, you can change everything already. You can change a lot when you just get this one right. That's so powerful already. I also spoke about one topic that we maybe can finish off this episode with, the difference between act as if and fake it until you make it, because there is a big difference. Many people think, hey, what's the difference between act as if the person that you want to become or fake it until you make it, Fake it until you make it is if you're just, renting a sports car or you're buying on credit some designer stuff, posting like it would be yours if you just, just for the status. This is fake it until you make it. I'm not judging it though. Like renting, for example, a sports car is not necessarily mean that you fake it until you make it. It can be also something like that you want to feel the experience, that you want to feel the experience, how it is to drive the Lamborghini or the Ferrari or the Porsche, So nothing negative about that. But if you use it to fake it until you make it, It's not really a good thing to do, in my opinion. But act as if is difference, a big difference, or is it? It is different because act as if is more to kind of ask yourself the question: what would the person that I want to become or I want to be in 10 years? How would the person act? What would the person say? This is the most important thing to understand. This is a difference. Like, how confident would the person be that I am in 10 years? How would the person dress? How would the person talk, right? Again, it's not about if you want to be a person that has designer clothes. You don't need to have designer clothes. It's more about dressing elegant. Dressing elegant doesn't need to be expensive, or dressing nice, doesn't need to be expensive. You can have a plain white shirt, like a basic chino, for example. Like, these things doesn't need to cost so much, right? When it comes to talking, right? Study people that can really talk very well, that you want to, don't copy, but you want to use as an inspiration. Study them and decide how you want to talk in the future. How confident are you when you are a successful entrepreneur that made multi-million businesses, sold them? Like, you need to have the image in front of your mind of the person that you want to become, and you need to take a decision based on that, right? What person do you want to become? And I have a good thing that you can actually do yourself right now. Think about 3 adjectives, how a person would describe you right now. Write it down. And afterwards, you write down 3 adjectives, how a person is describing you in 10 years. After you did that, you know what you have to work on. That's like, it's a very small thing, but it helped me so much. You need to understand, if you act like the person, if you act like the person you want to become, you will attract more people that are the same. Again, I say it again. If you act like the person you want to become in the future, you will attract more people that are the same. And this is how you come into circles where you can learn, where you are not the best in the room, but you're actually the person in the room that knows the least. And this is what you need to have. You need to have rooms where you can grow, where you can learn. And you're not the best. Because if you are the best in your room, you're in the wrong room. Yeah, I think this is a lot about paradigms, how to manage your thoughts and your emotions. Let me know how you liked this episode. I had some notes here, but to be honest, I watched them like 1-2 times and then I kind of did it like I always do. I didn't really need notes, or I don't need notes in general. So please give me feedback how you like this episode, what you guys want to see in the future. I have a lot of topics on my list that I want to cover. So yeah, again, feel free to share this podcast with a person that you think definitely needs to hear this. Share, give a like, give a follow. And of course, if you want to share it on your social media, I would highly appreciate it. You can tag me with my accounts, the Unbreakable Mind podcast and Jonas Zwickler. I'm tagging them under the Spotify and the YouTube video, of course, as well. So feel free to leave me a follow and give me feedback also in the chat. I would highly appreciate it. With that being said, guys, we will talk in the next episode next week. I appreciate your time, because time is the most valuable asset. And with that being said, bye-bye, guys. Much love and talk to you soon.